Hey guys, it's Nathan here. Welcome back to the Macrovisions channel. The topic for this one is gonna be we're gonna go back to the consumer debt side, and as far as what I'm seeing going on over the past couple weeks. And I've talked in the past a little bit about consumer credit cards and the skyrocketing balances that I'm seeing more and more of, maxing out the balances, and that hasn't changed. It's just I think the habits are starting to change where a lot of these people now are trying to consolidate debt. I mean, the amount of debt consolidation requests I've had has just over the past 2 weeks has just been insane. The amount of people trying to get personal loans to pay off other debts and hopefully obviously at a lower interest rate to consolidate that debt that they had. And some of these people are even people I even got credit cards for a long time ago, essentially. And even people with very high incomes, making well over 100,000. Albeit I live in a very expensive area to live, but still, I mean, so these people had access to, they had high incomes at a time. During the pandemic, they probably were able, if they had old debts in the past, they were able to pay them off. Whether it's not having to pay for your rent, not having to pay student loans. I mean, all of these things contributed, I think, to individuals being kind of a reset for a lot of individuals being able to decrease the amount of debt they had, raise their own FICO scores. I saw a lot of that. I mean, the credit scores of people going way up more than usual, obviously due to the amount of stimulus that was given to the average consumer. But a lot of that with a lot of people definitely was not saved. I mean, you can definitely see that by the savings rate. Obviously, things are way more expensive now. I mean, it's not just free. I mean, there's a price to pay, and we're paying the price now with higher prices in all aspects of our life, much higher. And that's gone up way more than the inflation of as far as what people are getting paid in. But like I said, even still, a lot of high earners, people still making over 120,000 a year, or even people who own homes, maybe who are well off, probably more property rich than cash rich, but still, yeah. So I mean, a lot of these people were able to get very high $20,000-$30,000 credit balances, during over the past couple of years, or credit limits, I should say. That those balances have now been used up, and they're coming back, and they're obviously credit card interest rates are anywhere from 20 to 30% as of right now. So I mean, that's a heavy cost to pay every single month. And especially if you're talking about a $20,000-$30,000 balance that you're keeping on that card, you maxed out your credit limit. It's definitely not great. So yeah, the consumers want more. They want to take on more debt to pay off old debts, but I mean, every single one I've had has been declined. Not a one has been accepted out of probably in the range of like 7 to 10 or so over the past couple of weeks. Most of them this week, but I mean, there's definitely was not like this before. I mean, definitely not a lot of people asking for a lot of debt consolidation services before now, where I'm seeing that become more and more common. And yeah, the banks are, the party's over. The banks are taking the punch bowl away. I mean, we're not approving these people, even though they probably could afford the payments. Like I said, a lot of these people I'm dealing with are very high income people, but obviously the debt to income, that all comes into factor. I don't know exactly what our methodology is total. Obviously, banks look at FICO scores, but there's more than that, layered on top of it, depending on the bank and what kind of consumer they're looking to market themselves to. Um, but speaking for my bank, which is obviously a larger bank that I discussed, we're not taking the bait anymore. We're just declining almost every single one of them, and I mean, it's been a long time since I've gotten a credit request accepted at this point. I mean, it's been pretty rough out here for the past couple of months, if not longer. I mean, yeah, probably longer, this whole year. There hasn't been much getting approved, whether it's on the consumer side or kind of the small business. That's kind of what I can speak to, the consumer and small business. But yeah, even just looking at some of the the Fed charts, the Federal Reserve websites, and some of the data that they keep, I mean, it shows the same story. I mean, the credit card balances across the nation are continuing to go up and up and up. And, if we don't continue to issue credit to these people, I mean, something is going to give, essentially, as far as demand goes in the economy. And you add on top of that some of the other things I've talked about. I mean, just the three things of energy, food, and housing, things that everyone needs. I mean, especially energy. Energy is the main one we're looking at right now. Obviously, those are way more expensive. Incomes haven't been keeping up, and now people have maxed out the credit that they had access to. So, I mean, where is the demand going to come from to keep the economy going? I think we had the GDP print. I think that was a little bit lower than expected, per se. I don't pay attention to GDP too much in the short run. Over the long term, it can maybe be a decent indicator, but over the short term, I mean, you'll see a lot of fluctuations. So I don't know what quarter two will be like or anything like that. I'm not going to project that, but I mean, something has to give at some point. Either the wages keep up, or, which I don't think they do, or, I mean, you have to see some kind of deflation in some of these things as far as prices coming down. Because, I mean, like I said, with the people I talk to, people who own gas stations, not as many people traveling, not as many people going out to the restaurants that they used to. I mean, so very well could see, and we obviously have seen the inflation in the big three: energy, food, housing. But I mean, a lot of the whole service sector, which is most of the United States, this whole service sector, whether you're someone cutting hair or you're a restaurant, I mean, just about any of these services, I mean, you're probably going to have to see in some places people cutting back. And I've already seen that. I mean, I've discussed in the past where it's the barber having people come in who would maybe come in every month, or coming in every 6 weeks or every 2 months or so, let their hair grow out a little longer. So I think something will have to give maybe later this year, but we'll see where that all goes. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to another update. I'd love to hear what's going on in your economy, what you see, what you think. Appreciate your time. Take care.